Oh, here he is. All right, everybody, here he is, the one, the only. Let's welcome to Totally Driven Radio, Mr. Paul Shortino. Paul, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Good, man. You know, here's a guy who I talked to last week on the phone, and he was just oozing with so much excitement and happiness about what he's doing. But before we get into everything you are doing, Paul, we were just talking about the whole thing with Stairway to Heaven, and I know Robert Plant's one of your big influences in your life and career. Like, what's your feelings on this whole thing where, it's Randy California's coming out and saying now, that they stole some chords and it sounds exactly the same? And
well, I think some of the best songs that have come out were born from other songs. George Harrison was sued by the Shirelles that did "He's So Fine, Oh My Lord."
Okay, yeah.
I don't think George set out to rip off "She's So Fine." I just think it subconsciously was in his head when he wrote "My Sweet Lord."
Right.
So I think there's only so many chords in music and so many notes, and I sometimes think that people they identify something, they come up with an idea, and they go, wow, that sounds like something, but I'm not sure what it sounds like, and
right.
And there's always going to be something that's going to cross over,
Gotcha.
with music. Because it's
Sure.
infinite.
That's true.
For so many scales that you have, and so you only have 13 notes to an octave.
Right.
So it's amazing how many melodies you can get out of that, and how many melodies are going to cross. So I feel really bad for the black artists like Willie Dixon and people like that, where Led Zeppelin was sued for millions on "Whole Lot of Love" because
right.
it was an old blues guy stuff. And if you look at all of the British bands, including like the Stones, or the Beatles told the Stones, you guys need to start writing your own material, because they were doing a lot of My Little Red Rooster. They were doing a lot of black blues artist material, because that's what
right.
they were listening to. That was rock and roll to the British. The British invasion was just pretty much black music coming back here with white guys playing it.
Right.
There you
go.
So I don't think that Zeppelin or anybody did anything with bad intentions. I think that maybe that there's only so many chords you can play, and so many notes you can play, and melodies that eventually stuff's going to cross over somewhat.
Sure.
And somebody's going to go, you know what? I'm going to sue you because it sounds close to this, or
right.
You can't. You only can copyright lyrics and melody. You can't copyright chord changes. Isn't that interesting?
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
It's because it's a melody. A melody is you don't need to hear the lyrics if you have the melody. So if somebody writes a song and one guy writes the melody, and there's chords that go with the melody, but you could all right, that's a melody, and then you write that out. That can be copywritten. Now, if you put words to that, somebody else, as a lyricist, puts words to that melody, then now you have two writers. So if the song were to be an instrumental, definitely the guy who wrote the melody would be getting the publishing on
right.
the song, because it's the music part of the song.
It's funny you bring that up, because we were just talking like copywriting and stuff this afternoon, myself and my co-host and my wife, and we had brought up like my wife said, well, remember when you used to play in a band years ago and you used to like get your demos and you would mail them to yourself and not open them? Does
Yeah.
is that really hold up in court?
That's,
If something
they
would
call
happen?
that the poor. Well, it's good for. I think it's good for a year. It's called the poor man's copyright.
Right.
You can
right.
do that with any idea, because what you're doing now is that the U.S. Post Office, which is a federal subsidiary of our government, even though it isn't the government, puts its mark on there, and as long as you don't open it, then it was dated when you wrote that idea,
Right.
and it's good for a year. So if somebody within that period would come out with whatever it be, if it be a book, if it be a design for some kind of lounge chair or whatever, music, whatever, it's all good, because it's kind of protecting your idea until you, because it takes a little bit of time going through the Library of Congress to do anything, and it can be substantially economically costly for whatever the purpose is. It's interesting that you can take and do a song of somebody else's and pay Harry Fox, who collects the publishing, for a song, or like on American Idol, they do, you got another thing coming. Judas Priest, which they wouldn't do, but anyways, they do that song, and you never know, right? It's totally where that is at. But they basically would give them money to license and get an okay to be able to do that song before they do it. They have if you were to do a video footage of the same thing, like the show that I'm in, Raiding the Rock Vault, we're doing cover songs with a story of classic rock.
Okay.
From the 60s to 1989. Okay, we can license the music easier than we can license video footage of the show. Because when you license the video footage of the show, they want to know, how many DVDs are you going to release, or how many times is this going to be seen? By people just shooting it with regular cameras on YouTube, they can't stop people from seeing something. But if you were to license, say, Stairway to Heaven, it's in our show, Raiding the Rock Vault. Say we were to license that from Zeppelin and go ahead and do it, we would have to pay ahead in advance how many times that the thing might be visually seen.
Wow.
Or a DVD. Are you going to make a DVD? How many are you going to sell? And then you have to pay up front for that. Which with the audio, you don't have to do that. You only have to actually license it and tell them that you're, once you get permission to be able to do that, you're going to release this many songs, and they collect on a quarterly basis. But it's interesting because we did a project with a young girl, and we did a remake of Hot Child in the City by Nick Gilder.
Mm-hmm.
And we did it sort of like a Sheryl Crow slide guitar kind of thing. Hot Child in the City. And we did a video on it, and it was we checked into being able to put it out there on, even for paid commercials, whatnot, just even little snippets of it, and we'd have to pay a certain amount of money in advance, which could be really costly for any kind of video footage opposed to audio footage. It's interesting how they rate the different categories of things that they charge you in a sense to release something that somebody else did. It's amazing.
And it's weird too, because you think about it. I mean, the bottom line here is the actual music, which it sounds like it's a whole lot easier process of the music compared to actually if video is involved.
Yeah, as soon as you bring video involved, it changes. As far as money goes, it changes. It's a whole different perspective. Well, you know, it's you have reality people doing or just reality shows that are making reality show people famous people.
Right.
It's really amazing that that television has come this far doing this thing. It wasn't really cool for Robin Williams or any big movie star to be in television back in the old days, and now in this time period, they're all wanting their own TV show because television and being seen on TV is bigger than life.
Now, you as a singer and one of the best singers to come out of, our favorite era of the 80s, what's your opinion on this whole new world of American Idol and The Voice and stuff like that?
Well, I think it's kind of cool that they're even doing anything like that, because it was like there was the Ted Mack Amateur Hour when I was a kid, and Ed Sullivan was, MTV in people's front room. And we've evolved to where we have news 24 hours a day when we only had news a little bit.
Right.
We had it in the morning and we had it in the evening with Walter Cronkite or Hundley and Brinkley. But now we have so much at our fingertips. Music from people, from music, from movies. You can have your own TV show if you have an iPhone and the right app, and video your life on a daily basis. And there'll be people out there that will sign up for this and want to see what's going on in your life, because they're not really happy with their life.
Right.
I think with our society has become a very fickle society compared to a society of the baby boomers, where when I was a kid, you had a problem with your TV, you had to take it to the TV repairman. Now you just go and buy another TV that's made in China.
Right.
And they want, when did it come to when in our society as Americans to flipping burgers at $15 an hour was a career that you were going to make out of your life, or bagging groceries at Ralph's or Vaughn's, or those were jobs when I was a kid that you did during the summer or part time to get you money to go to school to do to come up with something. Americans don't make anything anymore.
Right.
The last thing that we made, I think, was a Harley worth of shit. So, the Asian population make better cars than we do. We don't have a free trade with everybody, so we're getting it up the tailpipe. But really, our society has come down to where people are very fickle with everything. Once people could, I think MTV really destroyed really good rock and roll. Because as soon as they made it visual, they took away the mystique of music. I remember hearing Christopher Cross and hearing singing Sailing and the Arthur theme that Burt Bacharach wrote. And
right.
I couldn't put a face to this guy's voice. And then he won a Grammy, and I still couldn't, not that it sometimes you put your own vision to what your aspect and seeing what maybe someone looks like or sounds like that's singing that song.
Yeah, I totally get that. but do you really think that though? Your feelings on MTV like kind of killed the music world?
Well, MTV, look what it is now. If you really want to watch any kind of video footage, MTV is reality shows now. VH1 is classic, whatever they want to play, whether it be 70s rock or, a certain time period for the 80s. It seems like they categorize the 80s music as big hair. And, to me it really wasn't all about big hair. It eventually got there.
Right.
But I remember hearing some really great music from, Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin still in 1980, Whitesnake came out of the blue, right. And they had been around for years, but, it was their time to make a statement. Timing is everything in anything that we do. And everything starts with our thought process. So whatever you put out, and whatever you think and you put out there is exactly what you're going to get. So if you put out a positive thing about what you're doing and do a positive thing, then you're going to attract positive things. If your thing's a negative thing, then you're going to attract negative things. Because we live in a world of the law of attraction, and people really don't get that. The people have. If your intentions are good and everything that you do, you will be so blessed with gifts, whatever they may be, whatever the gift may be, the door opening up for a new career in life. People get so wrapped up into being into a routine that they forget their imagination, visualizing, seeing what you want, visualizing what you want, seeing the world how you'd like to see it.
Well, how about like with today? I mean, like you just said, like MTV does not play, and we all know it doesn't play music anymore. But now with the internet and the world of YouTube, don't you think there's still the use of video for music and songs today is still an important issue, even though it doesn't get played on TV? It's now played on the internet.
Well, what I think is really great about the internet, I mean, I'm talking on my cell phone, and at the same time I can go on the cell phone and go online, Google, whatever.
Right.
Who would have ever thought that would happen? Go back in the 1980s and remember the cell phones that they had. They had a little carrying case, and, I mean, we've come so far so fast. But we've become some kind of the disposable. But what we also at our fingertips have the information that people never had before in their lives.
Right.
At our fingertips. So, to one sense, technology has broadened our aspects of whatever we want in life, and for whatever question we want, even if it comes down to the melody of the song, you can hum it into your phone, and they'll tell you who did the song. To the best price at Home Depot for a barbecue grill, and you're somewhere else, and they have to, honor the price, of someone else. So at your fingertips, you really have all this power and this knowledge. But then again, what happens if we have no electricity?
Right. Yeah.
Then all this technology doesn't do us any good. It's amazing. I went to McDonald's and I gave them a $20 bill and the exact amount of change. And because I gave them the exact amount of change and coins, it messed up how he had to give me the money back. So I think what has happened with our society has become so dependent on our gadgets, our cell phones, our iPads. First it was nobody knew that we were going to have a computer in our home. Right. The next thing you know, we had a computer in our home, which computers were the size of my home, which maybe 2,500 square feet or whatever. And, I remember seeing The Twilight Zone with, I'm trying to think of his name. I can't think of his name now. But the computer's name was Agnes. And, it was he was working for the government. And, now we have small cell phones that we can just get whatever we want. Which, it's really cool. What has happened, it's taken away a little bit from the big guy. It's given little guy a shot at being able to make a video at a reasonable cost, put out a record. So I think the technology is great to some extent. It's when it becomes a crutch. It kind of there's a generation. My mom could add everything in her head. I can't do that. And I know that young kids today couldn't. Majority of them wouldn't do that. They would use their phone to get the answer to it. And I think what's happened to kids in school too. I think they've become too dependent upon the gadgets that we have.
Absolutely.
Even though even though that teachers say that they don't allow it happening, the guys, we're trying to just get through the test when we were kids, right?
Yeah.
Writing everything, down on your hand. Now they just sit there and they pass the phone,
Now, how about that? Like, with the day and age of technology and all, how do you feel about that? Like, yourself as a musician, where now you don't have to wait for a record company or try to knock down every record company door to try to get your music out, where you can do it yourself, release it yourself, put it out on iTunes yourself. You can do it all yourself. Isn't that, is a much happier, easier process for yourself?
Well, you have a lot more control that way, but also you don't have the big machine as the record companies, The people that are in that machine, that system. I was in it once before with Rough Cutt and even Quiet Riot, and it all depends. My first record I did with Mickey Dolenz's sister called Follow Me. I was 17 years old, and it was on Bell Records. And Snuff Garrett produced Sonny and Cher, Liza Minnelli, and he was the producer for this song. And so I went in there and I cut a song and I had a B track. It was a 45. And it was 22 with a bullet. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, on the same label, came this song, That's the night that the lights went out in Georgia. That's the night that they hung an innocent man. Dear Old Mama came out, Vicki Lawrence, with that song, and it was on the same label as I was, and it knocked my song off the charts. And that went to number one, and what they did was they focused on her as an artist. And she also was on the Carol Burnett show at the time.
Right.
So, the biggest, what's really interesting, I did a small part in a movie, and I did some other things and some film things. But film, you are immortal in film. In movies, you will be around forever.
Well, the same goes true for music, though, too, right?
What's that?
But the same goes true for music, too. Your music will live on forever as well.
Yeah, but you don't get to see that.
True.
As a visual icon, if you do movies or TV or whatever, you're immortal. As long as they keep showing that stuff, they're seeing who you are. it's a little different than hearing who you are, because that's more of an underground thing anymore. Because we've become a visual society, don't you think?
Absolutely.
I think people would rather FaceTime than talk on the phone. Hey, what's up? Yeah, I mean, we've become to where we can see each other. We've taken a bigger step in our culture by being able to visually see someone when you talk to them, or you do a session and you can be online in two different states and track them together if you want, or just sending people files. So it's really amazing how fast our technology is going. In fact, there were four. I was having a discussion with a friend of mine the other day about what happened to Flight 461. Is that what it was, or
the
Malaysian flight? Yeah.
Right.
Okay. There were four guys on there that owned a percentage in a company that do war, weapons, biological kind of war weapons with viruses and stuff. Well, they came up with this cloaking. And cloaking is, putting something over and it becoming invisible, like a stealth bomber, but literally being able to, throw a cloak over it and it become invisible visually to us. Well, there were four guys on that flight from China that owned 20% each of this company that they're in with Jacob Rothschild. And they shot that plane down. They shot that plane down because basically those four guys, you can go on flight, whatever it is. I think it's 461 or 431, Malaysia flight, and missing partners, and it'll bring up this whole thing on these four Chinese guys that were, now all of the shares goes to Steel, I can't think of the company right now, but Jacob Rothschild is one of the most wealthiest men in the world, and he is head of the company. So when the other partners, if anything were to happen to them, automatically the company would get 100% of the shares, and they're still looking for this plane. And I kind of believe that they probably did shoot it down. Somebody shot it down, and there were 19 other young scientists on there that had involvement in viruses that. And there's an agent here in town, a bigwig, who's dealing with Chinese people, and they kind of said to her that they shot it down. And that's whoever that is, the powers that be. I think they have this collective amount of people that run the world anymore.
Yeah, it's funny because me and my cousins, we had a family party last week, and we were talking about this whole missing jet thing, and my one cousin said, it's funny. We can find, the Santa Maria after how many years, and we can find dinosaur bones from over millions of years old, but we can't find a missing jet.
Yeah. No, they have technology, and it really kind of makes sense. Especially after I saw, and I'm not really one of these conspiracy theorists, but I believe that we might be an offspring of aliens of some sort. I believe God. I was raised a Catholic. I believe there is a higher power, and I believe He created everything in the universe. But also, I truly believe that Constantine, who conquered the world at one time, it was the Roman Empire, he saw a cross in the sky, and that could have been anything. And then he made the church, the Roman Catholic Church, sort of like the Roman Empire, with a pope instead of an emperor, and cardinals set of a center. So, it's, I think they got together and they put stuff together. They put the Bible together and they left stuff out, and now there's things that are coming out left and right, because we're not living in the Dark Ages. At one time, the reason they called it the Dark Ages is because the only people that could read were people that were spiritual people, or monks, or anybody that had to do with a religious kind of a cult. They kept everybody stupid in the dark. And now we're starting to learn stuff that, this cloaking stuff, if you look at all the pyramids are kind of like the same latitude and longitude. The same ones in Mexico are lined up, same ones with the ones in Egypt. And it's interesting how some of those, they could have been just kind of power plants for aliens. And I do believe there's other life forms out there, and I think that man sometimes thinks he's the brightest out of the bunch, and
well, you're out there in Vegas, right?
Oh yeah, we got Area 51 out here.
Have you ever gone to check that out?
My wife has been on there, and they come there just like they say they do. The black cars. And what are you doing here? I've never been out there because I've been by it. I've driven by it, but really to go on there, they stop you in a heartbeat. They got stuff out there. There was a video that someone showed these lights. A news lady, Dana Roselli, who was on anchor lady here on CBS, local news here in Las Vegas, posted on Facebook this video of this guy videoing these objects bouncing around the Lexor, because they have a laser beam that shoots 5 miles into the sky off the top of the pyramid. And this guy's going, look, baby, and he's videoing this with his cell phone. And you see like 10, 12 objects just bopping around. And you see helicopters and airplanes coming and going in this town. And because they have helicopter rides up and down the strip. And nothing like that. Nothing. I'm telling you, these things were popping around like popcorn. Zipping around. Unbelievable. And this girl's going, baby, we're going to be late for the show. He says, look at this show right here. Check this show out. And I was tripping on it. And you know what? It wasn't on there very long. Somebody, made somebody take it off. I totally believe that we've been. If you think about it, look at Cro-Magnon man. He had a little brain, hair all over his body. How come we have less hair and a bigger brain and a littler body? How come there were you had people in Greek mythology? You hear the Middle Eastern people talk about flying carpets. Well, yeah, right. They're flying carpets. Sure, they're the UFOs. Solomon had a ring that he could travel from different place to place. There's Indians that the Hopi Indians out here, and they have drawings, that are thousands of years old that resemble our, guys in our space outfits. Moses could have been talking to an alien. He didn't need to be necessarily talking to God at the burning bush. But, I was told that, but it could have been. And, Jacob's ladder could have been a ladder to a spaceship. But, you just never know. But you got to look outside the box of life. But I truly believe that life is, everything in it is, everything begins with a thought. So if you doubt whatever you're putting out there, you should change your thought as fast as you can, because it's energy and it drifts. And when whatever you think is what you're going to attract. And wow. It's amazing how I picked this up in the last few years of my life. A friend of mine turned me on to a movie called The Secret. And the secret in life is ask, believe, and receive. Well, out of the blue, I had a friend call me, Maurice Salchek, who's a performer here in Vegas. Says there's some people here from L.A. that, so they know who you are, and would you like to come by and have a glass of wine? And we went over there, and we met some other people, and we started talking about The Secret. And the next thing I know, these people bring up a book called The Power, written by the same person. And the power in life is love. And the Beatles had it down, because everything around us that we're surrounded with is love. And that is power. And when you're the most frustrated times of your life, and you start telling yourself how much you love it, when you're in traffic, how much I love the traffic, and I love the guy cutting me off, and the potholes, and I'm loving my car I'm driving, all of a sudden you're not traveling so slow, you're moving along. And the most important thing in life is magic, which is gratitude. And gratitude, the more grateful we are in everything that we do, the more blessed we will be. And the more we will get. Because the universe only knows how to give. Everything on the planet does its own thing. The grass knows how to get through the dirt. Weeds know how to grow where they're not supposed to grow, and where they are supposed to grow. We're the ones on the planet that we can ask for something. We're the only people on the planet that can go, hey, you know what? I want this. And all we have to do is ask. And if we believe, we will get it.
That's pretty deep, man.
It's changed my life, I can tell you that. These books by Rhonda Byrne. The Secret, The Power, and the Magic. And even the Bible tells you, ask, believe, and you will receive. What's the most, in Jesus, he said, the most greatest power out of hope, charity, was love. The Beatles said it, all you need is love. And when you start loving everything, and you start looking at everything that somebody else maybe made that with their love, the road you're driving on, now that's gratitude. You're in the car, and you're in the traffic. It's really weird, because when I got in this show called Raiding the Rock Vault, I was in L.A. My mother was having surgery on her heart. I had just finished seeing this video called The Secret, and was turned on to I was halfway in this book called The Power, written by the same lady. And it's telling me to love everything. And I'm in bumper-to-bumper traffic, and I'm going, I'm loving the road. I'm loving the traffic. I'm loving the Cadillac. I'm loving my wife next to me. And all of a sudden, stuff started moving. And the whole book pretty much changed my life in so many ways of looking at everything in life and looking at the glass half full instead of half empty. It's amazing. As we get older, we tend to lose our imagination in visualizing things. And whatever you want in life, all you have to do is write it down. You write down what you want, and your intentions have to be for the good of others. On my billboard, I wrote, I want to be healthier. I want to be on a big stage again. I want to have my face on billboards, and magazines, and I want to make $100,000 this year. Everything that I had seen in this movie, because The Secret is just a testimonial of all these people that have either had cancer, been in an accident, or just was a new author, a spiritual person, but just incidents that happened in their life and how they approached it and how they went through it. And the biggest test was, hey, and it's the simplest test, visualize a parking spot that you want somewhere where you're going, way before you get there, and see it, believe it, and don't doubt, and drive to where you're going, and you'll see when you get the spot that you want. And that was the first test that I did with this law of attraction, and sure enough, there was my parking spot. And what happens to us as a culture and as a society is that we stop using our imagination. And the more technology we get, the least we use it. And that is the secret. The mind is so powerful and so strong that it's amazing how we can actually visualize something and make it happen with a thought. And that's really how we're made up.
Right. You know, I know myself, like, a couple years ago, like, you know, I'm a person who's, like, battled with depression. And a couple years ago, I went through, like, a real good phase where I was just very positive on everything. And everything seemed to go in a positive way. Yeah. It was just weird. And now that, like, I'm back in a depression, I don't feel that positiveness anymore.
Well, you know what? All you have to do is, you know what's interesting? And, you know, it would really be good for you to read the book. You don't necessarily need to do The Secret, because the secret in life is ask, believe, and you will receive. That's the secret in life. The power in life is love. And when you start looking at everything through the eyes of love and, you know, really getting deep with it. But what was really interesting is that when you get to the magic is a reprogramming of the way you think. When you start reading love, they tell you to get rid of words like depression, stress, trouble, negative words in your vocabulary. Get rid of them. They're just words that we've created.
Right.
Who came up with stress? I mean, yeah, okay. That sounds like a word that's heavy on your shoulders, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's like the drugs that they create. You know, the side effects are worse than the problem you have. You know, when you start listening to all the side effects. But and this magic, I've only been able to get maybe about 6 chapters, and I went back to reading love. You have to work it out. Yeah, first of all, you start out with being grateful for the basic things in life, like your feet and your legs, and why you're grateful for your feet and legs. All the things that you can think of why you're grateful to have your feet and legs, and then your hands and your arms. And you have to do this every day, and you have to come up with 10 new things to be grateful for. And let me tell you, I was in Spain 2 years ago, and it was a year ago this birthday, May 14th, a year from this date. I was in Madrid, and I had got into The Magic. The Magic is a tough book. With all your good intentions, if you can do what this book tells you you can do and reprogram you in 28 days, whatever you want in your aspects in life, whatever you want without any kind of plan, you will be able to have. If it's $100,000 in the bank for your daughter, like I wrote down, I wanted to be able to put $100,000 away for both my granddaughters. I wanted some retirement for myself, and I wanted this and I wanted that. It's like we're a antenna sending out a signal to the universe. All we have to do is really put our order in once and put it up on somewhere where you can see it every day. Like one of the programs that you go through with this magic is the gift of health is keeping me alive. I say that 4 times a day. And then I also have on a dollar bill, thank you for all the money that I've been given all my life. And only because I want to attract more. When you start thinking about instead of thinking about every bill that comes through in your mail, you start saying that you want them to become checks. Then all of a sudden you'll stop getting bills and you'll start getting money because it's what you'll attract. You ever think about, look at the rappers. Look at the rappers, man. They're loaded with diamonds, gold. You know why? Because they love it.
Right.
That's the power, is love. Okay? The magic is gratitude. Because every time, if we all said how grateful we were for every time we took a drink of water, nobody would be thirsty. But everybody doesn't do that every time. And then you should thank the universe 3 times, because that's like the Trinity, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. 3 times, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you to the universe, to God. There is a higher power, it's inevitable that there is. I mean, look at our world. It's just so complex and beautiful.
Right.
We're trying to control the ozone in climate control. Ain't gonna happen. The cows they fart more than the carbons that we put out with our cars.
Right.
Yeah, just cows farting is more than that. There's a lot of bullshit out there that they want us to believe, and you know what? You have to make your own bubble. You have to make your own life, because the government and everybody's too much up in our nose. And so the law of attraction, whatever you want in your life, you have to create your own world. But you will have whatever you want. It's amazing. I'm a perfect example of it, I mean, I here I'm in Las Vegas. I put up that I want to be on billboards, and I'm on billboards, and I'm in this incredible show, and singing songs of people that I would never, I was told I should sing a Jim Morrison songs when I was 17 years old, and I go, I'm not really an Doors guy, and I'm doing, I'm singing a Doors song in the show. But it's amazing. It's a history lesson for young people, and walk down memory lane for other people raiding the rock vault. Do you guys have a residency set up somewhere? Right now, well, everything here is 4 walls and months to months. Well, we've been here. This is going on our 2nd year, and this year the hotel got behind the project, the show, 75%, which is amazing, because you have to just do it yourself. All these shows here, Cirque du Soleil, all these shows, they're renting the space. Even the clubs, they rent the space.
Right.
From the casinos. The restaurants, they're just renting 4 walls.
Right. And you guys are what, 5 nights a week?
Our show is 2 hours long, and most shows are about an hour and a half. Because they've calculated it, how much money they lose in gambling. Everything's become a corporate kind of thing about money. Everything's become about money.
Oh, sure.
And they're even they're going to start selling pot and growing pot here, and some of the people that are getting into that are like judges and people with deep pockets and no people, and it's like anything, right? The rich get richer, and the
poor get poorer.
The poor seem to struggle along in this country. In other countries, they get poorer, but they, I've been to Colombia, and people that are poor down there don't have a cable TV and food stamps. You know.
Wow.
You know.
So you guys are what, 5 nights a week?
Yes, we are, and it's an amazing show. It really is, with amazing cast of characters. Doug Aldridge on guitar from Whitesnake and Dio, and Howard Leese on guitar. John Payne on bass guitar and vocals. Robin McCauley from McCauley Shanker Band, and he also sang with Survivor. And Jay Schillen, who was in Hurricane and also played Badfinger, and John Payne's Asia.
Okay.
Seeing how there's 2 Asias out there, I guess. Like there's 2 Rats and 2 Dawkins. And
right. What do you think about all that? All those, like the two band stuff?
Oh, everybody's just trying to make a living.
Yeah.
You know, really. What else can you say about it? You know, really.
That's true.
You know, they it's a shame that everybody can't get along, and you know, because actually, I think they all would make more money if they all just became
got along.
The original guys again.
Sure.
Promoters and fans would pay more money, I think, to see the original guys than you're splitting up bands and stuff. But oh well, you know, I can't put anybody down. Everybody's just trying to get by and make a living, you know, and
right.
Everywhere and everything that people do. But if everybody just said thank you 3 times for everything they had, they'd have 3 times as much every time they thanked.
This is true.
That goes for, you know, everything you have, the happiness you have in your life. I played golf today and it kicked my ass. I could not believe it. You know, it seems like a sissy sport, but let me tell you, it kicks your ass. And so I've been drinking sake for the last 2 or 3 hours, and I've got a nice little buzz. So I hope I haven't bored everybody.
No, it's been a very fun conversation. We definitely got to do this again.
Oh, I love talking. And, you know, I love talking about the spirit world because I was raised a Catholic, and you know, I had to go to church every day and all this stuff. You know, and that's what you have to do. And then you go to church on Sunday with your mom and dad. But you know, I stole the host. I was always in trouble. And religion's one thing, and spirituality is another. And I've become a very spiritual person in my later years, and I think all human beings do that the older they get in life. They start, you know, thinking more about the big picture instead of you're invincible. You know, nobody's going to stop you. And you know, it's really interesting that for any young listeners out there that are trying to do music, you know, all you really have to do is really love what you do and do what you do because you love it and not because there's an intention of getting laid or you know, making millions of dollars. Because you know what, if you really love what you do and it's unconditional, you're going to reap the rewards.
Right.
Hopefully you're adult enough to be able to handle it. Because there's a lot of people that were ahead of their time and reaped the rewards so abundantly that they didn't know how to handle success. You know, you look at Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, all those people, Jim Morrison, they really loved what they were doing, but I think they came to like a brick in the wall and became dissatisfied because people wouldn't let them grow outside, Purple Haze or Light My Fire,
Right.
I think Jimi Hendrix was very, he felt stifled. And he's one of the most influential songwriter or production, recording, is right there next to the Beatles, because the Beatles were the guys that really opened the door for multi-track recording for everyone. I mean, look at Sgt. Pepper's. They did that on a 4-track. It's amazing, Wow. And now we have auto-tune. I can sit on my iPad or my iPhone and I can bring up GarageBand, play guitar, and not even know how to have to play guitar.
Yeah, I saw a commercial last night with a guy on a street corner with an iPad hooked up to an amplifier playing all different instruments.
Yeah, I've got them on my phone and on my iPad. It's a GarageBand. You can record. You got drums. You can buy apps and have different, EQs, and it's really amazing. You have a microphone. You can do multi-tracks.
Wow.
And then you can send them. You can email them I could email them to myself and then grab them and put them in a Pro Tools. I've got a studio at the house, and MusicWorks could import these and put them into a session on my main rig in the computer and fine tune them. I can do MIDI or I can record notes. It's amazing.
Wow. It really is.
It's amazing. It really is amazing where we've come with technology.
It's scary.
But
all right, so Paul, where does everybody get hold of you, and so they can check out Raiding the Rock Vault?
You can go to paulshortino.com. You also can check me out on Facebook. You can go to my Twitter account, Paul Shortino on Twitter. And also raidingtherockvault.com. And people can go check out Raiding the Rock Vault on YouTube. There's a lot of footage, I'm sure, there. We had Lou Graham as a guest, which was amazing. We brought in the Patty Pennington Gospel Choir that did the Sunday Gospel Choirs at the House of Blues, and sing "I Want to Know What Love Is" with Lou, and it was pretty intense.
Wow.
We had John Anderson. We get occasional guest stars and bring them in. They do 3 or 4 songs. Mickey Thomas from Starship, Bobby Kimball, Joe Lynn Turner.
Nice.
It's been a great journey. I'm like 9 minutes away from the hotel, so B.B. King's another 5 minutes from my house, and Joe Jackson and Mr. Michael Jackson. Dad's about another 5. They all live in my hood here, where we live in Vegas.
How about the Count from Count's Custom? We had him on a couple weeks ago.
He lives right. His shop is right around the corner from me. He lives up the street, and his club is right up the street. I'm right off of Sahara. I'm a lot closer. I'm closer to his shop than I am to his house.
Cool.
I'm real close to the. It's a gated community. It's been here for about 30 years, and I'm real close to the Strip. But then again, you wouldn't even know you were in Las Vegas, because we've got trees maple trees, eucalyptus trees, olive trees that aren't supposed to be here.
Nice.
So when allergy season comes, you are dying. No.
Paul, before I let you go, can you just cut a quick ID for me? This is Paul Shortino, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio.
You got it. Hi, this is Paul Shortino from Raiding the Rock Vault, and you're listening to Totally. I got to do that again. Totally, what was it?
Totally Driven Radio.
Totally Driven Radio. Hi, this is Paul Shortino from Raiding the Rock Vault. You're listening to Totally Driven Radio. Rock on.
Nice. Paul, I want to thank you so much, and we could definitely do this again, and have some sake for me.
You got it. I'm going to have some coffee, I think, now.
Oh, come on. Come on, it's early yet.
Oh, I'm 3 sheets in the wind. Hey, it's just been a slice of heaven with you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this old guy preach. But check out those books, especially if you're going through a transition of any type, emotionally or anything like that. Check out The Power by Rhonda Byrne, Byrne, and The Magic.
Sounds good. All right, Paul,
Talk
thanks,
to you guys later, man.
Yep, take
Cheers.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. There he goes, everybody. Paul Shortino from Raiding the Rock Vault. Legend of Rough Cutt, Quiet Riot. We didn't even talk none of that. But, hey, it was a lot of fun. I hope he has some sake for me.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Could that not be the greatest interview?
Ladies and gentlemen,
You don't even know what to
this is
say.
why you never drink the bong water, okay? I have never heard of a reason not to read The Secret more than the last half an hour of my life. That guy is batshit insane. Did he know he was supposed to talk about his career?
I don't know.
Holy shit. I literally couldn't stop laughing. I had to put myself on mute because you and John are killing me.
Wow. I don't know what to say. And
yeah.
you know what? You know what? Hey, all I know is that is 1 hour of footage for an interview that I don't think nobody will ever have. And deep down, he's a great dude. He's really super excited and happy about this whole rock vault thing he's doing out in Vegas, and he's having a blast.
Well, hopefully there's a rehab behind those vault doors.
God bless him.
Holy
or
yeah.
or the power, or love bless him. I don't know.
There's evil alien overlords.
But that was probably the most interesting interview I think we ever did.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting.
All right. Wow. On that note, I think we're going to take a commercial break and come back and play the Todd Latore interview. So stay tuned. Look, I even had a song queued up from a King Cobra that he did. We're not playing that.
No song could be better than the 30 minutes of just nonstop rambling that he did.
That was 60 minutes, dude. That was 1 hour. And
I think the first question you asked was, what do you think about the internet? And that's the only question that you got out. That whole hour was him answering, what do you think about the internet?
I never got to ask him about Miley Cyrus. Because we started about aliens and missing jets and cow farts and, wow.
Miley Cyrus would have told him to get his shit together.
Oh, dude, I wish you know what? I wish we had a sound clip of Miley Cyrus saying that, so we can just play that, when we interview people, and we just have Miley Cyrus get your shit together. Oh wow! All right, let's take a commercial break.